Hey there, I'm Mark. Welcome to the Mark side. Moved here to Vietnam about 3 years ago. Formerly the United States, worked hard for a lot of years, and things fell into place, and it was time to be able to take the advantage of retirement. I'd had some exposure to Vietnam and started studying YouTube channels, learning about retirement to this part of the world. Ran across some great video libraries on a couple channels to start garnering information as I approached my early 60s. And eventually things fell into place quite by chance during COVID, of all things, that it was time I could make the move. And one of the video channels that I watched was really important and laid the groundwork for how to make this move as seamlessly and as smoothly as you can when you're going to the other side of the world and a totally different culture, language, food, monetary system, everything. And that advice was to go and visit and do an exploratory vacation and check the area out. So I did that. I came to Da Nang, Vietnam in late March, early April of 2022, just after Vietnam opened their doors after having been closed tighter than a clamshell for 2 years to the outside world. So came and looked around, followed the advice that I learned from that channel, Vagabond Awake. Check it out, great channel. Shout out, Dan. That once you get to the area that you think you want to retire to, don't stay in one hotel. Move to different areas of the town, of the city. Check out that small city 15 miles away that you wouldn't even have considered, but maybe you get there and you see it. So basically, just learn the lay of the land and understand the area as much as you can. Make sure you think you can be happy there for whatever length of time you plan to commit to. So did all that in let's say early April of 22. Decided this was a place. The beach was great here in Da Nang. The seaside communities were casual and relaxed, a lot like San Diego, where I had lived over 30 years ago. So went home and started tying up the loose ends, selling things, giving things away, donating to charity, yard sales, all the things you have to do. And then got on a plane. Also had to organize getting my very large dog here, 93 pounds, which is fairly rare to see in Southeast Asia. That's a whole nother video coming in the near future because there's quite a lot of moving parts to it, and it's a lot of red tape and a lot of paperwork. We'll talk about that on another video. But getting on a plane with 4 big bags and arriving, the other thing that it was important to do for me because of the dog was to secure a place to live on that exploratory visit, which I was able to do. I was able to look at different neighborhoods, different types of living situations, and what I chose to do, probably not the norm, but because of my dog and because of the attitude towards dogs and cats here in Southeast Asia, I wanted to be in the safest place possible. So we ended up living in a gated golf course community. I don't play golf, but I had the 14th fairway in my backyard, so go figure. But it was safe for the dog. And that was the only thing that I cared about because I was coming to a new area where I didn't know the ins and outs of anything. So I wanted to at least feel safe for him. If not for me, if not for him, I could have easily been in a 1-bedroom apartment, much closer to town. But that's where I ended up. And then after getting here, very few cars. Well, there's more cars now, but most people don't drive a car. There's a bit of a rainy season where people wear ponchos, but for my first year here, you drive what we would call in the West a scooter, a Honda scooter, a Yamaha scooter. Um, Here they call them a motorbike. But when I first rented one and got on it, I was a little shaky. But thankfully, when I got here right after COVID, for my permanent stay, I got here right around the 1st of July, 2022. I didn't realize it because I was new in town, but this town was quite empty. It was maybe 25% of what it had been pre-COVID. So the roads were wide open and they're very wide. Sometimes they're 6 and 8 lane two-way boulevards with a median in the middle. And when I first got here, you could drive around some days and go for a mile and nobody would even drive past you. So it was a perfect time to get your motor scooter legs underneath you. Now it would be a much, much different story. It's gotten a lot more crowded. The population has come back. The visitors have come back. The relocated expats have come back. And driving is a whole different story. That will be a future video that you'll find quite entertaining. I'll take you on a ride. But being able to get around, it was a scooter and learning to drive it. But it was awesome because once I learned how to drive it and I was comfortable, I would just get on it some days and just drive up and down the beach, up the peninsula, because it made me feel like I was a 15-year-old on a go-kart, on a mini bike again. So had to learn how to get around. And that's the transportation other than utilizing Grab, which is the Vietnamese version of Uber, if you have Uber where you live. And it is so inexpensive here. I mean, to go 15 miles, 20 miles, it can be $8 or $10. Never took many cabs back in the States, but I know they're a lot more expensive than that. So it is an easy way to get around. And if it's pouring rain and you want to go to the store, you know, getting a Grab car, or if it's not raining, getting a Grab bike and jumping on the back of someone else's motorbike is even less expensive. But that's the norm. That's how you get around here. Very few even relocated expats have cars here. You know, the where to live thing can also answer that question. I have one friend. He's a retired teacher from Montreal, and I'd known him for about 2 years and would always see him in what's called the expat area where they're sitting for coffee, and he would walk by. And after knowing him for about a year, I said, you know, do you have a motorbike? Every time I see you, you're walking into, or I've never seen you on a motorbike or pull up on a motorbike. He said, you know, because I live here in the expat area, I have a motorbike. I haven't ridden it for 10 months. And that's the wonderful thing about being in this part of the world and in a city. There is a coffee shop, a laundry, a motorbike repair place if you do have one, a restaurant, a bar, a spa, a nail salon, literally every 10 feet. And it's interesting because so many times I've had Vietnamese people say, oh, that's so far away. Like, hey, do you want to go meet for coffee? Yeah, where do you want to go? Let's go over there. Oh my God, that's so far away. And I'm thinking to myself, it's 2 miles. I spent 18 years having to drive 10 miles to get to the closest Starbucks, but it's because everything can be very condensed, and everybody's got a coffee shop. If you have a house that faces the street and some sidewalk, you're probably serving coffee at 6 in the morning, and someone will stop and drink it. And that's pretty amazing when you are a coffee addict and you've come to the coffee capital of the world. It's nice that you trip over them, and they're about every 5 feet. But some of the aspects of living here, they just take nothing more than getting used to. And you can't explain it. You just have to experience it, realize it's another culture, and either adapt, or you're probably going to want to go home. and we'll talk about things like that on some of our future videos. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for this time, and we'll see you soon.